It's amazing to me. The media will do anything. They will run over their own mother with a Mack truck if it means discrediting, diminishing one Bernard Sanders. Bernie Sanders, who raised $18 million in the first quarter. Excuse me, the second quarter. So first quarter was January, February, March. Second quarter, April, May, June. He raised $18 million in the first quarter. First quarter and second quarter. He also has received 2 million donations total. So that's 2 million donations. That is a huge, unprecedented feat of grassroots support for 6 months of a campaign. And he hasn't even been in the campaign for 6 months. He launched his campaign at the end of February, really the beginning of March. So he's gotten 2 million donations since launching his campaign at the end of February. So that's March, April, May, June, basically. 4 months, 2 million donations. Yet you keep seeing these news stories. Oh, Pete Buttigieg beat Bernie. Biden beat Bernie. And now Elizabeth Warren, who, in fairness, good news for Elizabeth Warren today. There's no sugarcoating it. She did very well. So Warren raised $19 million in second quarter donations, about a little over $1 million more than Bernie. That shows grassroots support. She didn't take any Wall Street money. I mean, I'll look into the FEC filings. The candidates have till July 15th, so next week, to submit to the Federal Election Commissions all their information, and then sites like Open Secrets will go through and see who's donating to which campaigns. Are they telling the truth that they're not taking any money from lobbyists, Wall Street, this and that? So at the moment, this is what Elizabeth Warren says. We'll see, because I, Jen, and the rest of us will go through those FEC documents, so you don't have to. But, so Elizabeth Warren raises $19 million. That's pretty good. Way more than her first quarter. This story, apparently her average donation was $28. Bernie's was $18, so her average donation is about $10 higher. $28 is still small dollar donations. Bernie's average, I believe in 2016, was $27. Warren's campaign says that she received the $19 million from 384,000 donors in the second quarter, more than 80% of whom gave money for the first time. Well, we have to give Warren credit. I know a lot of you aren't big fans. She ain't my first choice. But at the same time, how does somebody like Elizabeth Warren get 80% of her donors from 80% of the donations from first-time donors? Well, it starts with the corporate media shifting to her. Elizabeth Warren, other than Kamala Harris getting God knows how much free airtime she has gotten since that debate. I mean, it's on par with the amount of free airtime Trump has been given by CNN, MSNBC over the years, particularly during the 2016 campaign. But Elizabeth Warren started getting all this coverage. Politico, if you remember, I reported on this last week. Politico had a story, the establishment is now willing to compromise on Elizabeth Warren because she says things that they like I'm a capitalist, I'm not a socialist. She basically, without saying it, basically signals, I will work within the system. I don't think the entire system needs to change. So they like that. They like that. What's crazy about this, Elizabeth Warren, she did well, but yeah, 80% of the new money is because there's so many more people being exposed to her, because CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post have all been giving her endless media attention, and they keep giving her this perch that, I don't mean to be a jerk, isn't completely deserved. They say, oh, she's got a plan for everything. Well, let me be clear. A lot of you don't like when I say this. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but for me personally, if it was Warren versus Trump, I wouldn't think twice. I would vote for Warren. I don't think she's Hillary Clinton. I think she's way better than Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. I think people are being extreme to say she's the same. She's not. You vote for whoever you want. I'm not telling you who to vote for. If she's the nominee, I don't think she's going to be the nominee, but that's how I personally feel. With that said, A lot of her plans are borrowed plans from Bernie Sanders and other people. Her idea of a wealth tax, good plan. Bernie's been proposing that for decades. The wealth tax, Bernie's plan for many decades. He's been pushing it. But because Elizabeth Warren does it, revolutionary, visionary. Her climate change plan, pretty much the same as Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. One plan, is she better than Obama, Jordan? I highly doubt it. That's hard to say. I don't trust, I trusted Obama going in, and obviously he disappointed me. I have reason to doubt whether Elizabeth Warren would follow through on a lot of these things. I think her plan on breaking up Amazon and Facebook, and these are very good. I think Bernie could be more progressive on that. I think she has a good child care plan, but Bernie Sanders has a good child care plan. They make it seem like Bernie Sanders doesn't have plans, like he's just, he's just all talk, and he wants revolution, but there's nothing underneath it. Bernie Sanders, even before he announced his presidential campaign this time around, has been putting out many specific plans. I've read them. Go to his campaign site. He's put out many specific plans. He's about to put out tomorrow, this is called Leadership, with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They're going to put up a resolution calling the climate crisis an existential threat and calling to declare it a national emergency, which it absolutely must be. Obviously, Trump and turkey neck Mitch McConnell aren't going to do a damn thing, but you still have to lead. I mean, do you see the flooding going on all across America? Unprecedented flooding. If you live in Washington, D.C., they have unprecedented flooding just from rain. You're looking at the Everglades in Florida burning. It's not just California burning, it's the Everglades burning. You look at the earthquakes happening in Los Angeles. Two earthquakes in 48 hours. Mega earthquakes. They haven't seen this level of earthquakes in years. Hey, guess what? I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to pretend to play one on the internet. But if you do the research, a big part of these earthquakes happening is because of geothermal fracking. What's amazing to me, and I just got this confirmed by Bernie's campaign, he has received 2 million donations in 4 months. That's unprecedented. Yet when you read the news stories, let me just Google. Of course, Politico. Elizabeth Warren puts Sanders on notice with 19 million in fundraising haul. Let's not get crazy. Listen, she deserves credit. She raised $19 million, 1 million more than Bernie Sanders. I think for Bernie Sanders, I mean, obviously they're not putting it in here. Warren's numbers were a little bit more impressive, 80% of her donors being first-time donors. Sanders held exactly 0 big-dollar fundraisers and rejected money from Wall Street executives in the fossil fuel industry. 99.3% of donations were $100 or less. He also, I think, 46% of his donations were from first-time donors. So it's not like Bernie Sanders isn't getting new people to the rodeo either. On paper, yeah, she raised $1 million more than him. But her average donation was $10 higher. Not major, but higher nonetheless. But more importantly, Bernie Sanders is receiving more donations, just a lower dollar amount. So you're basically splitting an apple here, or splitting the orange. Yeah, Warren deserves credit. She's gotten a lot of media attention, which is helpful, but she's made the most of it. But Bernie Sanders, the media, the corporate media, because they're corporate, they look at presidential campaigns basically as like stocks. And they're basically day traders. Who's up, who's down, who's up, who's down. But that's not how the American people look at things. It is, when you're comparing Pete Buttigieg, who had 50 fundraisers with Wall Street donors, the financial industry, and was receiving many max donations. When you do a headline, Pete Buttigieg outraises Bernie Sanders. Well, yeah, but he's outraising him 24 million to 18 million, where most of his money is max donations coming from the financial industry. So of course he's going to raise more money, but he's raising it from far less individuals. So one, Bernie is grassroots, and one, Pete Buttigieg, is not grassroots. This is called manufacturing consent, and it's also called basically deceiving people. Because Tracy says, how many donations, not how much. Right. Bernie Sanders, in the last 3 months, received 1 million donations. I haven't gotten from his campaign how many individuals donated. So, I mean, you could donate more than once as long as you're not donating more than the maximum amount of $2,800. I'm trying to find out from his campaign how many individual donors did you have. But I could promise you 3 people did not donate $1 million. 3 people did not donate over 1 million donations. So that's 1 million cumulative donations. We'll see how many the donors are. My guess is it would probably be like 750,000, 800,000 individual donors, so individual people donating a total of $1 million. I keep saying 1 million. 1 million in donations. That's a hell of a lot of money. And that's more. Bernie Sanders raised more actual donations than Elizabeth Warren. And by the way, this is a sneaky thing, but Elizabeth Warren's campaign, they put out how many individual donors they had. They did not put out how many individual donations they got. So, for example, 384,000 donors, but they didn't say how many actual donations were made. So 384,000 donors could have donated, there could have been, I don't know, 600,000 donations from 384,000 donors. I don't know, I'm just making that up. But the bottom line is, I want to know how many actual donations came in. Donations is the most important thing. Second most important, from how many people. But donations show you cumulative support, total support. So I don't have those numbers because the media hasn't been reporting them, and Bernie's campaign, to my knowledge, did not put out there how many individual donators donated to reach that 1 million total donations. Warren's campaign is putting out the individual donor number, but not the number of donations. And campaigns put out, they're selective with numbers because they want to highlight certain numbers, and if other numbers weren't so great, they don't want to highlight that. But the bottom line is, this isn't even about Warren versus Bernie. This is about basically the media lying, because the media is basically trying to prop up Pete Buttigieg, that empty vessel. Yeah, great, he's gay. That's wonderful, but I don't care if he's gay. He's not for Medicare for all. He's not for free public college. He's an empty vessel. He's meeting with Wall Street donor after Wall Street donor. To me, he's basically Obama. A lot of fluffy hot air. He speaks well, but there's nothing there. Kamala Harris, I did a long deep dive. If you missed it yesterday, there's nothing there either other than corruption, branding. Bottom line, when you see these media headlines, oh, Bernie's fading, Warren surging past Bernie, Pete Buttigieg, in the lead. There's important context that the corporate media deliberately leaves out. Thank you, Michael, for the swear jar. Bernie is raising more total money. So Warren might have raised $1 million more. Bernie is receiving more cumulative donations. One thing that I see missing in many of these stories, Bernie Sanders has $30 million on hand. That's what they use for on hand. Basically $30 million to spend. Warren's campaign, I believe, has 19.4. Let's see. Yeah, Warren has 19.7 million in cash on hand. Bernie's got $30 million on hand. So what's better for the long-term success? 20 million? 30 million. I mean, we're talking monopoly money. We're talking monopoly money at this point. I mean, this is all insane. This kind of money should not be in politics, but that's a different story for a different day. I just want to stress, when people tell you that Bernie is fading, no, Bernie Sanders has raised 2 million donations in 4 months. That is insanely, it's an insane achievement. That's called grassroots. Yes, Warren did well in the second quarter, but let's see what she does in the third quarter. Let's see what she does when she's on the same debate stage with Bernie Sanders. Let's see when her actual record, not just the plan she's putting out, but her record is challenged. I don't know if it's going to be challenged by CNN or MSNBC, But if she rises in the polls, her record will be challenged. And it's not all great. She voted for that $715 billion defense budget. I don't think she's been that strong on climate change until she ran for president. I mean, as far as I could tell, she's down with the military-industrial complex. As far as I could tell, she is willing to make deals with corporate Democratic establishment. And if she became president, I don't think she's going to fight as hard as Bernie Sanders, because she has a history of showing up when she wants to, or when it's politically expedient for her to be capital P progressive. We need the real thing. We need to know who we are electing to be the general election nominee and hopefully president is actually going to fight from day one, not start as president, compromising half the field to the Democratic Party establishment and Mitch McConnell. We do not need that. We do not need that.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.